Welcome to Talking Stations. This live coverage of 1DQ. The assault begins. This is Matterall. It is... we'll give it to you any time, but local time it's early in the morning. Eve time it is 13:15 UTC on July 30th. Getting reports of 1DQ. I think locals at about 13 to 1500. And climbing. There's a Nyx from the Imperium that is tackled. And more people are assembling. I'm not sure if this was a planned op or a target of opportunity. Well, let's go to ZKillboard and see if things are being worked on. In other words, ships being destroyed. We'll try to get cameras in there as quickly as possible. This doesn't look completely representative, but yeah, it looks like supers are on the field for Goon Swarmers 1DQ. Of course, those are all stationed inside that system. But I do want to see what FCs are VDD from NC. Has a Serenity in there, the fleet commander. And Headliner, of course, from Pandemic Legion. Of Star Desu, also from VDD. And Damon's Demise. These are Australian time zone players for Northern Coalition, as you can see. And looks like they're going in with, at least initially, some cheap ships, or cheaper ships, in that they're battle cruisers, which are now easy to manufacture, or easier to manufacture than they were. Feroxes. That's one of the ships of choice lately. And these look like, yeah, hacks. Those are heavy assault cruiser Cerebuses. Those are more expensive. These are from Army of Mango. So at least PAPI's consisting of Army of Mango, Northern Coalition, Pandemic Legion. Army of Mango is a Chinese time zone or Australian time zone. It's the same time zone. And Pandemic Legion and Northern Coalition's Australian time zone is in there. All right, seeing Initiative in there as well, in addition to Goon Swarm and the Imperium. Saw Bastion guy go by. Those guys are in, those look like Jackdaws. Those are basically destroyers with T3 destroyers. Those are missile boats. All right. So we're working on getting cameras in there. It's very slow in there. It's 10% tie-dye, so it's slog. It's like 6 a.m. Pacific time in the United States. These numbers are off. We're hearing reports that it's at least 1,300. This adds up to about 800. Oh, yeah. Courtesy of one of our Patreons, here's some of the still images, which really is just as good as being in there. With the tie-dye the way it is. Oh, this poor camera guy is getting worked. You can see he's halfway down, 2/3 down his armor. The local 1DQ has spiked to 2100. This footage is, wouldn't call it footage actually. These stills are courtesy of one of our Patreons, Arconius. From Brave. Thank you very much. This gives us a visual, and again, stills are almost as good as video in a tie-dye situation. And that appears to be the gate. Our poor camera guy in there is just crispy. Look at that. You can see 2/3 his armor is gone. They're still able to smuggle out some pictures. Oh, hey, Rhane. How's it going?
How are you?
Good. It's a little early. You're not in 1DQ, are you?
Just jumping in.
Oh, great. We were looking at the kill board and saw that we have Headliner, we have a couple FCs from Van Diemen's Demise from Northern Coalition. Army of Mango is in there, at least on the PAPI side. Brave's in there. Locals over 2,000 now. I'm going to switch to push to talk in case you don't hear me. if we can get in there without giving away any information they might not want out. One of my favorite things about EVE Online, one of the best changes they ever made was the little description, the little icon of the floating body in space. Because it gave everything scale. You could see how big a cruiser was compared to a little man floating in space. And all of a sudden, everything made sense. And there's a little man floating out here, and that is a potted victim. There he is. There he is, that little guy.
So I still have my gate cloak. I'm attempting to move. There looks like to be a Ferox fleet, mostly horde, some test. See John Hartley with a Megathron fleet. Baltex looks like those battleships.
We're hearing that there's a Nyx tackled from Imperium.
I don't see a Nyx in all this stuff, but I can go look.
Yeah, there's definitely a Nyx by a gate there. We're looking at it now. I have just a still of it. Looks like the Imperium Super is going to get away. This is inside of 1DQ. There's a look of the Nyx at the edge of the bubbles that are holding it back. Back here you can see just directly behind it the gate
His,
to T5Z.
The character's name is Die in a Fire from that Nyx, so I feel like that's really fitting.
I was looking at the picture that Matterall is on stream right now, and I was thinking that if I was the Nyx pilot and I looked behind me and I saw all that stuff going on, I'd be like, what?
Yeah, that's super panicky.
It's like the Millennium Falcon trying to escape.
Yeah, looks like he might make it. He's looks like he's drifted out to the edge of the bubbles. You can see behind this little static area here. Not static, but these little dots. Those are actually ships. They're just tiny and in the distance. And that's where some of the fighting's happening. Rhane, you're in there. You're in there. It's a tie-dye. How painful is it?
Extremely. I don't know how we're at 10% with only 2,400 people. Stuff's still respawning though, from what I can tell. It's just really slow.
I feel like this was one of those beta car situations in which, oh, there's a super tackled. Okay, let's drop everybody in. You know, like this wasn't planned at all. This must have been something that just happened, kind of thing. That's why you say there's 2,400 people in local and in 10% tie-dye.
Yeah.
Because if this was planned, the node would be reinforced by now. But it's
Oh
at
no,
the
it's
same time.
1DQ, so it's
Yeah,
constantly.
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. At the same time, it's 1DQ. I'm surprised that CCP doesn't have that node reinforced 24/7.
Here we go with live coverage courtesy of Rhane.
I see more blue capsules than red capsules, so I'm guessing PAPI's losing.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to look at it.
And just to be clear for the people that just got here, the blues are PAPI side and the red is the Imperium side.
Yeah. A PAPI Ferox fleet, PAPI Harpy fleet. There's obviously Supers by Imperium, Jackdaw fleet by Imperium, and then Baltex, or a Megathron fleet. I'm assuming Baltex. Not a lot of Munins. And some bombers, small gang stuff. The PAPI forces really consolidate on the gate right here. I don't know if you can see my mouse. And then you have the Baltex, and then the Eagles. I'm assuming, I wonder if the objective's just the, if it's just the Nyx or if they're trying something else. Also, there's one of my alliance mates kind of looks like drifting into reds.
Oh,
It's the best part about streaming. You can call out your allies.
yeah. The nice thing about this slow motion tie-dye situation is that your friends can tell you're flying in the wrong direction. Happened to me a few times.
Looks like another Serb fleet warping in. I think that's Dracaris. I think that's who DC is.
I see it on the left. Yeah.
Yeah, given every single action that you make takes 10 minutes to react, you have plenty of time to correct course.
All right, welcome to Talking in Stations. I am Matterall here with Rhane, who's showing us inside of 1DQ. Battle has just begun. Is this the beginning of the assault? We're not quite sure yet. Also joining us is Z-Master. He's a regular here. Actually, I do think this was planned. Don't think this was an accident, although I don't know how a Nyx got tackled. It might have been baited in. Might have been an accidental warp.
Found the Nyx.
How close is it to getting out?
It looks like it's only in Dictor bubbles, so I mean it's a minute. Those are Horde bubbles too. Good job, Horde. It's a minute real, including tie-dye for the bubbles to go down. So it's what, 10 minutes? Or is it 2 minutes for a bubble?
I think it's 10 times speed.
Yeah, it's 1/10 of whatever timer is set to.
Alright, so he's got like 10 minutes to wait, which,
yeah,
unless PAPI warps in a bunch of other dictors or Imperium uses their own dictors, he should be fine.
Do you have any indication if this was a planned assault, what the objective is, or is this a target of opportunity?
I would say it seems more like a target of opportunity. I don't know. I mean, the current time zone is, so I'm working from home. I'm assuming all of you guys are too, and I'm assuming the Europeans are working from home as well. So I don't really know who's like, hey guys, in the middle of the workday, let's fight, because I don't see a lot of the like AU time zone folks or the Chinese time zone folks.
Yeah, it's 1440 and 1540 in Central EU right now. So I don't see people planning, middle of the afternoon while they're at work kind of thing. That's why I made a comment earlier about could this be one of those BR situations in which a super gets tackled and then, oh, hey, let's use this opportunity to have a big fight,
Yeah. Anything's
It's-
possible.
yeah. Yeah,
I got
given
some.
that
I
it's
got
not
some.
even.
The reason I say it seems more deliberate is I got some information that there was going to be something around this time,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
I didn't know what or where.
I was thinking that given it's not even the weekend and everything, it would be a bit weird to, invade 1DQ not on a weekend kind of thing. But like you said, anything is possible.
Well, I mean, this was a called shot in that a week ago on Saturday they said in a week we're gonna assemble for a week or 10 days, and then we're going to push hard, and that's right about tomorrow. So this is just a little bit early.
Sorry, when was that fraternity soda kind of thing? When did that happen?
All that was, well, the fraternity state of the alliance might have been on a Sunday, but the announcements to the public from all of the PAPI groups
Mhm.
was on Saturday. So 6 days ago.
Yeah, somebody in chat is saying it's Friday night in China. That's the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I mean, technically, he's right.
All right. If you guys have information, go ahead and put it into chat. Accurate information, verified information. Thank you to Urshalog's followers for the raid. I think it's fair to say that we've entered a new phase in this war. The siege is turning into an assault. This marks the first major action that we've seen. And from here, for the next 2 to 4 weeks, we assume there's going to be heavy pushes into 1DQ and the surrounding constellation against the Imperium from the PAPI forces.
The bubble around the Nyx looks like it's fallen. And I also see it looks like subcaps repping the Nyx. Or maybe it's capacitor. So the Nyx should be free if that's what this whole ordeal started over.
Do you see any other objective?
On this gate right here, no. Unless there's a group kind of behind the scenes doing something in another system or off grid at, I don't know, a Sinojammer or a jump bridge. That would be the only thing I could see. But I don't think we'd have this mass of mobs here. What you're also not seeing, so I don't have drones or fighters showing. So there's also, I believe, a fighter blob on the blues here. So
Yeah, can you talk about the technique of launching drones from a distance in a
yeah,
situation like this?
Yeah, so with carriers and super carriers, they have really long projection with their fighters. So rather than having your capitals, sort of in on this blob fighting, they can sit off grid, kind of shown over here. I don't know if you can zoom in there. Sitting on like something like a Keepstar or a Fortizar or even an Asher House if needed. And then what they'll do is they'll deploy their fighters and then send them like 1,000 kilometers away to fight because carriers can still lock and fight at that range. Yep, there's the Nyx warping now.
Ooh, we got out. There he goes on the left there. Who was that? Congratulations to him.
His name is Die in a Fire. So
Oh,
I
that's
think
right.
it's kind of sad he didn't die because I feel like it'd be really fitting for his name.
Yeah.
But it was Imperium had a really good response to protecting him.
That guy did not live up to his name.
He did not.
Shit. His father's going to be disappointed.
Oh yeah, sorry. Dredge is correcting me in chat. I do mean off field. Off grid, they wouldn't obviously be able to see anything and do stuff.
And that's actually a biggest advantage now because the grid, you're right, it's like 14,000 kilometers. So you could be really far away and still send your fighters as long as you can see what's on grid. While in the past, few years ago, grid was so small that this wasn't much of an advantage.
Yeah, and carriers function drastically different then too because they could self-rep each other, or like, what do you call it? Spider tank each other, so they could rep each other and refit.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like the reason you want all of your capitals together is so then when you jump in faxes, the Logi capital ship, you have them all grouped up. Because a lot of times what happens when people jump, not this situation doesn't really apply because Imperium can just undock, but like if PAPI were to bring their forces in, their capitals could bump off of each other. And then that becomes an issue because then if you bring in faxes, the target they may need to rep is too far away. So really, it's like a completely different strategy now with the grids and whatnot. Also, we see some boosters up here, some Imperium boosters trying to aim towards the gate. They're going to try and spearfish some PAPI members off.
Yeah, I'm hearing that PAPI is withdrawing. Do you have any information on that?
Well, the numbers have gone down by 200 and they're slowly dropping. So I'm assuming that must be them jumping out. I can't see the animation of them taking the gate though, but they do seem to be clumped up on the gate.
Yeah, this is 10% normal speed, time dilation, I guess called time dilation. I used to always call it time dilated, but it's time dilated.
Time dilation.
No, it's. We'll talk.
Time dilation.
We'll talk later. But it looks like the Nyx, flown by Die in a Fire, has escaped. Imperium has a strong response. You see it there in the red. In the blue is PAPI. They're surrounding a gate. That's why they look clustered up. And we have early reports they may be withdrawing. Again, we don't know if that Nyx was a target of opportunity or a missed jump, or even some crazy espionage move. We'll try to get information on that.
Spearfish caught a couple feroxes, it looks like. I do see fraternity feroxes there too. So it looks like what are these, eagles? We'll start to shoot at them. It's going to be really hard for me to reposition my camera.
That's okay.
I can try it,
but tell us what spearfishing is for some of the people who are newer to EVE.
Yeah, so spearfishing is a great technique used to reposition an enemy force via command destroyers. So command destroyers have the microfield jump generator or something like jump drive. So what they can do is when they use it, usually called booshing, they can take themselves plus a few others within 6 kilometers of them, 100 meters or 100 kilometers away. And so spearfishing is when you take multiple command destroyers and you chain the booshes so that you jump 100 kilometers and then you jump again another 100 kilometers. But usually when you land the first time, you're within an enemy or sometimes even an ally if you want to try and save allies. So what they'll do is they'll jump in, grab people around them, and then jump away. So in this instance, they pulled PAPI 100 kilometers away from the gate in an attempt. So now they have to burn back and then in the process would probably die.
Thank you, Rhane.
Yeah. It's really fun. I did it when Command Destroyers first came out. It's pretty hard to do in tie-dye because command destroyers aren't really the greatest in tie-dye, just because of the way the server ticks are and everything with how slow things function.
Yeah. How can someone defend themselves against that if you're an intended victim?
You can go really fast and hope your enemy's really bad at aiming. The other one is if you're scrammed or the command destroyer itself is scrammed, you cannot be booshed. So if you see someone lining up to try and, command destroyer you or boost you, you can target them hopefully at that range and then just activate your scram when they're on top of you. Or you can have an ally scramming or chain scramming is kind of a thing. I don't think it really works though.
Yeah, that was intended to be the reverse. If you capture somebody, they couldn't be booshed away.
Yeah.
But people use everything defensively. So also, I think if you're a capital ship, you can't be booshed away, right?
Correct. I think a fun change would be if CCP introduced like T2 dreads that could boosh, but I feel like that's also something so far outrageous and niche that they would never do it.
Yeah. So who's the white ones in there? Is that Dracarys?
Yeah, the ones up here, I believe, are Dracarys. This guy down here, Ranger Regiment. And there's like some miscellaneous folks out here. I can't even actually see that guy's name. Yeah, Ranger Regiment. For some reason, they're not red to me. I can always go in and manually change it for next time.
Whoa.
That was another boosh, it looks like. At least I hope. I don't see any red there. How did they end up over there? A couple more Feroxes, Ospreys.
As the master tells us, there's 2,400 in local, 10% tie-dye.
It was 2,400 earlier. Now it's about
it's
2K.
Going down. 2K, yeah.
Yeah.
Right now we have the Imperium still warping to this gate. You can see them, the little red dots moving in on the situation. The blue dots are getting smaller and smaller because it looks like PAPI is withdrawing through the gate back to T5Z. All the yellow you see around the blue, those are all bubbles. They could be from PAPI and they could be from the Imperium. Likely PAPI bubbles, though. Are those defensive bubbles?
No, I think those are anchored bubbles.
Oh yeah, of course. So that's a constant state of bubbles around that gate. And that makes it so that if you come through that gate, you'll need to swim out of those bubbles before you can warp or maneuver. It's like a net.
I'm looking at the bubble camp and knowing that there's a gate in the middle of it. I may actually consider that you may be right, Matterall. This might have been a bait. Just thinking about it. Making PAPI jump into 1DQ to kill the Nyx, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of Imperium pops out.
Yeah, it is a different time zone. This is not a usual time for fights, considering the optimum numbers that both these sides would get would be between US and EU time zone. I should reverse those, EU then US time zone. So I don't know, 1800 UTC, or about 5 hours before that.
Yeah, right now it's 3 p.m. UK time, 4 p.m. Central EU.
Yeah, Naughty93 says this was a target of opportunity. Again, my information was that something would be happening around this time, whether it was some kind of a bait or an actual war objective. I wasn't sure. I didn't even know what system it was going to happen in. Local appears to be falling. It's now at 2,000. It was peaking at 2,400.
Yeah, people are slowly dying.
I'll just read something from one of our analysts. It's possible this was not an intended serious attack. It's very possible that this was just a regular light attack and an Imperium Nyx warped into bubbles. PAPI took the opportunity and committed forces. The Nyx extracted and the fight happened. This is not 100% confirmed. So just an observation. So further reports that PAPI are withdrawing. We see their numbers apparently going down. Rhane was saying earlier that at this point the Imperium, the red guys on the screen, will try to pick off a few of those blue ones before they can escape. It looks like a little group of PAPI forces there on the left getting a bubble put up around them. What do you think that is, Rhane?
They just don't want the pods to escape. Now they have to take 2 minutes and 10% tie-dye to self-destruct to go home. Because originally they were all ships, so the group right here. Ooh, there's another boosh. Nice. But the group right here and then the group down here were booshed. So now we see folks here, but a lot of them are pods. So.
So they are grabbing a chunk of PAPI and dragging them out of those bubbles, surrounding them, and then destroying their ships. And this is called, you said spearfishing?
Yeah.
That's a good chunk. I mean, there must be like 15, 20 guys in there.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. Most of them are pods, though. I feel like in big fights like this, pods aren't really worth that much. I mean, unless these guys have implants, but I don't know who flies doctrine ships with implants.
Oh, it's another one.
Yeah.
That's really neat to see. I didn't realize how many people get taken out with that.
Yeah, I believe the boosh mechanics limit it to 25 folks, but I mean, if you're moving doctrine ships away, that's really easy to pick folks off. I do know with this amount of tie-dye, though, sometimes it's laggy. I had a friend get booshed once, and she was 100 kilometers from the gate and still got the gate animation and was in the other side. So it's kind of weird.
That was a function of lag.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how this server works with the tie-dye. See, there's another group.
There's another one. Wow, they're really getting them now. That's 4.
A lot of people got stuck on the gate trying to withdraw.
Yeah, that is Pservad here at TIS. This has been a theme that's happened a few times now, where people try to withdraw all at once, and it's just not allowed because of technology. The server has a tough time letting everybody out, so they're kind of bottlenecked. I think
Yeah.
that led to some really embarrassing losses for the Imperium. Sorry, for the PAPI forces. The Imperium bombed the gate and was able to kill a bunch of people that couldn't get out.
Yeah. You see now most of it's pods too. I mean, there's some small ships, but nothing major. Like everything here around this gate's pods, so I don't know if people are going to actually try to jump out in their pods or if they're just going to sit and wait to get podded.
Oh, yeah. Or self-destruct.
Yeah. That was probably another boosh, but I don't think they grabbed anything. Yeah, just pods.
So in that sense, we're not seeing the destruction of ships necessarily, mostly pods that are being dragged away from the gate, which is annoying. But since the fight is over and these people aren't reshipping, it seems like it's just kind of delaying the inevitable. The Imperium does take the win, and their Nyx gets out and survives. This is their capital system of 1DQ. Those are good numbers for this hour on both sides, but especially Imperium's. Unless they had information this was going to happen, in which case they could have pre-pinged.
Yeah. I have no idea what that is on my screen.
Wow. Space debris.
That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in this game. Is that
That
really?
was very ghost-like.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. That freaked me out.
It was the souls of the millions of mortals who were killed in the fight.
The baseliners.
Yes, baseliners, that's right.
I was going to say, Rhane, that's kind of embarrassing. Got ghosts flying around.
I do like horror games, so maybe that's what it is. Here's a bomb.
It's your last game. Haunting this game. Katya says, Children of Light.
Kind of is a horror game if you stop and think about what just happened in terms of the lore, you know. How many hundreds of thousands of people just died?
Yeah, I feel like the lore of Eve, like if I pay too much attention, I just feel sad because every time I lose a ship, like not civilians, but people working on the ship die. That's really sad.
I did know somebody who couldn't get over that pretty much. They were just a mission runner, but they cared a lot about not dying because they felt responsible for the crew.
Yeah. Like you want your little people to live.
Yeah.
I pay extra.
It's part of the lore of EVE Online that the capsuleers are just like so oblivious to to the lives of all the people on their ships, like they don't even remember that they're half the time.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't all what you all just said just play into the whole, like, capsuleers are immortal, so they have like these huge egos, don't care about the normal people,
Yeah.
which we never see.
Barely cognizant of their existence at all.
Exactly.
I would pay extra if I could insure my ship with like little escape pods for my civilians.
It's a great idea. That is a CCP please idea.
That's like something like an ISK sync for the lore reasons that CCP would implement. And like it would seem really dumb, and they would just like be like, whatever, we'll do it. And then like every year they'll have like the civilians like send a Eve mail to the capsuleers they flew with to be like, hey, thanks for letting me live. It'd be so cute.
Here's a picture of my family.
Yeah. So we saw a brave bombing run. I don't know. I think it looks like they're probably aiming for these folks. Just a couple of them.
Any sign of results from that run?
None yet.
Oh, the bomb's still in the air?
They were. don't think they are anymore.
And so if you're being bombed, if you destroy the bombers, the bombs become inert and don't go off. So that's one
Yes.
defense mechanism. These are jackdaws down there, which are especially good at killing bombers.
Yeah, it looks like actually all the bombers died, and I don't see any Imperium pods, so I wonder if they all died before the bombs even went off. Or maybe they just missed really bad.
Also possible. Well, it looks like PAPI is withdrawn. Imperium holds the field. Of course, this is their capital system. But they reacted well. They saved a Nyx. Not sure if there was much injury here at all. We'll know in the following hours when the battle reports come out. We'll see how much was destroyed and on which side it was. Gotta imagine those little white dots there in the top where Dracarys getting a big hug from all the red dots.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing a fleet movement. Lots of people starting to warp out.
It looks like they're probably all aligned back towards the Keep Star. I can move my camera without lag.
Oh, there we
Yay.
go.
This is...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is where the Nyxes, or the supers and carriers were. When I was talking about with the fighters, I can try and switch to a tab to show you guys. So yeah, you can kind of see the fighters moving back and forth. And then it looks like the subs are all going back to the main staging.
Yes, one of the cool things about this is it feels very organic with the drones as like extensions of a creature. So it's almost like arms are reaching out to grab something and destroy it. All right, we're seeing some numbers here. This is early, but probably accurate. 85% efficiency for the Imperium. With only 6 billion lost on their side, they destroyed, well, again, this is early numbers, so 117 ships. PAPI, on the other hand, only 15% efficiency, lost about 40 billion ISK. And, oh, I'm sorry, they lost, so PAPI lost 700 ships, that sounds right. Imperium lost 117. What you saw were super carriers from off in the distance there, using fighters. The super carriers were fighting battle cruisers, essentially. But I think in this early phase, what we're looking at is not what gets destroyed. We're looking at numbers, looking to see how many people can fight in this time zone. And that was pretty impressive on both sides for this time zone. We had 2,400 in local. And I think the breakdown was quite even, so. That is not necessarily a good sign for PAPI, I would say. If you have even numbers, the advantage goes to the defenders. Clearly, the Imperium are the defenders in this war situation. And you're looking at a camera from Rhane, who's here with us, and you are seeing the Imperium get resituated back into their structures there, the Keep Stars. There's 2 of them. There's more in this system. You can see a third one off in the distance, but these groups are warping to the nearest 2. All right, well, it looks like this battle is over, so we're going to wrap up coverage here. We will be alert to bring you battles as they appear to be happening over the next 2 weeks. I'd like to say thank you to Arconius, who gave us some early pictures of what was going on in that system. He's from Brave. Thank you very much. He's one of our Patreons too. Really appreciate that. If you want to join him in the Patreon club, you can go to patreon.com/Matterall, M-A-T-T-E-R. How do I spell my name? M-A-T-T-E-R-A-L-L. Rhane is providing pictures of the supers on the Keep Stars. These actually didn't move. They just undock and launch fighters and project those fighters to the gate. It's actually kind of a nice gig if you can get it, right? You undock a Keep Star launch fighters, you're not really in danger.
Yeah.
That advantage works both ways, but it is kind of easy piloting.
Yeah, losing fighters though is really annoying because I know the UI sometimes isn't the greatest, and if you DC, you can't like recall them. You have to go back and scoop them, so that can get annoying. But yeah, this sort of mechanic is really strong for defenders, but it's also, I mean, it works both ways in this because PAPI has the same thing set up on eTech-V, and they could do it in T5Z too.
Yeah, so Imperium, again, winning this fight. Looks like they're docking up some of those big ships that are moored, or tethered as we call it. The damage done was mostly to PAPI in Ferox's, and I think there were some hacks in there as well. We'll look at the kill boards, but about 40 billion loss. Not much in the grand scheme of things. This war has cost upwards of 70 trillion for each side. Or something like 70 trillion for the Imperium, 50 trillion for PAPI. But the point is tens of trillions. So 40 billion is a drop in that bucket. But this is just the beginning of a final assault. We assume there will be many more and much larger clashes. All right. Thanks, Rhane, very much for the camera and for the commentary. Fantastic.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, E-Master and Pservad and the rest of the guys in here for hanging out with us. We will be back next time on Talking in Stations whenever there is a new battle. We're going to go to our best attempts to do 24-hour live coverage on battles, and we'll get you information even when we don't have cameras. But thanks to Rhane with this beautiful shot that's live inside of 1DQ, the Imperium headquarters and capital system. So live coverage for the rest of the month, and we will see you next time on Talking in Stations. Thanks for joining us.